Good day to members of the media and the listening public. Today, I can advise that the update of the Department of Immigration's Work Permit Policy 2025 will be available for public feedback for approximately a month between the 5th of June 2025 and the 4th of July 2025. One of the government's goals is to ensure the proper balance between employment and immigration in Bermuda. This includes having in place realistic conditions that enable Bermudians to find work and pursue career opportunities while ensuring that suitably qualified non-Bermudians in specific job categories are permitted to work in Bermuda. During the past fiscal year, the Department of Immigration processed over 10,000 work permit-related applications. Its work is guided by both the Bermuda Immigration and Protection Act 1956 and the Work Permit Policy. The Work Permit Policy in particular provides detailed guidance to employers, work permit holders, and agents who submit work permit applications. It also assists Bermudians with understanding what is expected of employers, i.e. for job promotions, job title changes, and advertisements. Last updated in 2017, the policy was overdue for revisions to ensure its relevance to the current employment requirements in Bermuda. With this in mind, the Ministry, in conjunction with the Department of Immigration, undertook a comprehensive review of the work permit policy over the past 2 years. Input was sought from key stakeholders, including the Board of Immigration, the Department's Work Permits section, the Compliance section, and industry partners. The review aimed to clarify areas where interpretation was too wide and varied, streamline policies where appropriate, introduce new policies to address emerging needs, establish realistic processing times, ensure transparency and fairness, and support Bermuda's efforts to attract new businesses and stimulate economic growth. The revised policy is intended to improve the quality and completeness of initial work permit submissions, thereby reducing and ideally eliminating the need for resubmissions and processing delays. Ultimately, the Department aims to consistently process all work permit applications within published timeframes. Without elaboration here, the policy's new additions include guidelines for submitting photos, guidelines for submitting police certificates, family office permits, guidelines for amending the dates of work permits, sponsored dependents residing and working in Bermuda, applications to reside, secondments, and layoffs. Other significant changes comprise the following. Processing of standard work permits has been increased from 20 working days to 30 working days, reflecting a more realistic processing time frame. It was evident that work permits could not be consistently processed, meeting the 20 working day time frame set, leading to backlog of applications and unhappy customers. The policy also includes the expectation that employers will fill jobs with Bermudians being placed first amongst all other categories of workers. All persons, not just Portuguese nationals, will be required to have a working knowledge of the English language, and the burden of proof to ensure they do will rest with employers. The policy regulating business visitors has been expanded to include utilizing someone for a nonprofit organization, a registered charity, or a religious institution, such as a sports coach, clergy, or a speaker. Short-term work permits will no longer serve as a bridge for standard work permits. This means employers must determine their business needs up front, i.e. whether they need a work permit holder for a short period from 1 to 6 months or for a longer period, for a year or more. If an employer is likely to require a work permit holder for more than 6 months, they must apply for a standard work permit of at least 1 year validity. Note that applications may still be made for emergency short-term work permits, and individuals can refer to Policy 3.1 read with Policy 3.3 of the revised work permit policy. A new family office permit has been introduced in Policy 3.7 in alignment with Bermuda's new family office framework. Statutory bodies will have 15 working days to review applications and provide a response to the minister. The number of days has been increased from 10 working days as the time frame was not consistently met. Salary bands for sponsored dependents have been enhanced to exclude the work permit holders and spouses from the household profile, and a new salary band has been added for households of 4 or more dependents. It is also made clear that spouses are not deemed to be sponsored dependents. Only unmarried partners and children are classified as sponsored dependents. The Bermuda public will be aware of the ongoing digitalization project undertaken within the Department of Immigration. Although it is currently in its early stages, its design and implementation will include an assessment of the department's business processes so that the resulting automation and digitalization are effective and efficient for consumers and staff. The work will be undertaken in phases, with the first phase being work permit applications. Ultimately, it is anticipated that the processing times for applications will decrease, and customers will be able to track applications through the system via a dashboard. I encourage all employers, work permit holders, agents, and the public to participate in this consultative process. Carefully read the Work Permit Policy 2025 and submit clear and relevant feedback by responding through form.gov.bm between the 5th of June and the 4th of July 2025. Following the consultation period, all feedback will be considered, and the Work Permit Policy document will be finalized prior to it coming into effect on the 1st of September 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, we welcome questions from the media.
It's a bit high. Thank you, Minister. On the last update you gave on work permits, I believe you had mentioned something about a provision where you could bar a worker if they were in violation of the work permit policy or laws, immigration laws. Is that still the case?
Most definitely. And so there are penalties for persons who actually breach the work permit policy, and the department will ensure that we have strict adherence to our laws and work permit policies.
Okay, so it does seem a little, you're penalizing the worker. What if it's the employer who is holding things up and it's really not the employee's fault? Are there provisions to determine between those two scenarios?
The responsibility is a shared responsibility. The employer has a responsibility to ensure that its employees have the relevant document to engage in the economic activity that they desire, and employees should ensure that they have the relevant documentation to work and reside in Bermuda. According to law, both can receive civil penalties, the employer and the employee.
Has anybody been barred yet?
There have been persons placed on the stop list for breaching immigration laws and policies, yes.
Can you go into detail on the value of some of the penalties?
So the penalties can be split, and I spoke about that in the previous press conference, and so it can be up to $5,000 for the employee and $5,000 for the employer. but it's for the employer is based off of each infraction. And so if he has multiple employees that are outside of our work permit policies and laws, the employer can be charged multiple times.
And again, last time you had a press conference on this, you talked about a zero tolerance policy on late applications and such. What if the roles are reversed and somebody submits a perfect work permit application to the Department of Immigration, everything's in place, but the department itself is delayed in processing it?
And so how we handle that, we ask persons to put in appeal to continue to work. And so permission can be granted for a person to continue to work while the application is in process.
If it's the immigration that's holding up, maybe you've got a backlog problem or something like that.
Most definitely. And so we do facilitate employers returning to work once an application has been submitted. This is where an application has not been submitted and somebody continues to work, where we penalize individuals.
And when somebody does have that appeal, what's the turnaround time for that, for them to be accepted? Is that another 20 days they have to wait, or 30 days? Or
No,
is that
appeals
quicker?
take place on a weekly basis.
Appeals take place. And so how long, say if I was to appeal today, how long might I expect to wait for an approval? Or
Appeal meetings are held on Thursday, and so if you were to submit an appeal today, then it will be considered in next Thursday's meeting.
Yeah, okay. And obviously you had a program that you were hoping to use to digitize this process, the Microsoft program, and that either didn't work or your systems weren't ready for that. You said digitization is an ongoing process. Are your systems ready? Has that been rectified?
I believe that we are in the process of ensuring that we have an appropriate vendor that has a set of software that are actually compatible with our systems so that we can move forward with the project in earnest. But we are in the advanced stages of ensuring that we select a vendor who has software which is in alignment with our systems. What I would say is that we will not be going through the exercise of implementing a system that doesn't meet the two aims of ensuring that there is efficiency and effectiveness of outcomes.
Okay. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks, Minister. Firstly, are you able to share, up until now, what has the average processing time been for work permits?
And so meeting with the team, the average processing time has been around 30 days, and that's why we set 30 days as the processing times within the revised policy.
Okay, and just to confirm, with the new streamlining of processes, you're hoping to reduce that by a further 10 days?
I believe once we go through the system, we will be able to better dictate the new processing times moving forward. But certainly under the 20 work days that was previously set is probably what we're aiming for.
Okay, and you also cited that more than 10,000 work permit applications have been processed in the last year. With the kind of improved efficiencies of the process that you're hoping to roll out, do you anticipate that that number will be bolstered?
I believe that we may have a reduction of submissions because a lot of these submissions are duplicate submissions. So persons will submit a short term and then submit a standard permit. We want to get away from persons utilizing short terms as a bridge to long-term standard permits and persons just submitting the standard permit that they desire.
Okay, and just lastly, regarding the digitization, does that include the use of any artificial intelligence?
The team will be better able to provide clarity on that matter. But what I'll endeavor to do is, once we have all of the details of the digitization process, I'll ensure that I come back before the public and share all the specifics around the automation and digitization of the work permit process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That concludes the questions. Sorry, got one more.
That's where we find the work permit policy and all these updates online.
So they can be found at forum.gov.bm. We would have a draft on forum.gov.bm that persons can use for consultation. But on the immigration website has a detail of all of the application types that one can submit, as well as guidelines surrounding those application types.
And the policy itself is there.
The previous policy is there, and the new policy can be found on forum.gov.bm.
Okay, Minister, that concludes the questions. Do you have any closing remarks you would like to add?
Certainly, this is another step in the right direction as it pertains to immigration reform. When we set out to do comprehensive immigration reform, we looked at a number of areas. We looked at strengthening compliance, using immigration as a lever for greater levels of economic activity, ensuring that we improve our laws and our regulatory processes, and also moving forward with digitization and automation of the services we provide in the department. And you can see that we are making steps in the right direction. I believe that at the end of this process, in terms of this new 2025 work permit process, you will find that the work permit policy will be clear and work in the best interest of the people of Bermuda. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. That concludes the press conference. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great day.